From what we understand, I had actually to be here today for an overnight investigation. Mr. Vendel was attempting to sell a dirt bike on one of the marketplace apps on Sunday, and left his house in New Orleans around 10 a.m. To sell that bike. Mr. Vendel never returned from that transaction. His family continued to start looking for him at this point in time, contacted NOPD as for missing persons, and started backtracking any place that he may have gone because of the app. That led the family to come to Jefferson Parish last night, contacted our officers, and we started working along with NOPD and state police to try to track as much information as we were able to do. During that investigation, we were able to provide a message going back and forth between the suspect and Mr. Vendel, leading us to the apartment complex located at 2101 Manhattan Boulevard. Our deputies went to that location and were able to find the dirt bike in one of the patios of one of those apartment complexes. At that point in time, they made contact with Mr. Jalen Harvey. During the subsequent questioning of Mr. Harvey admitted to shooting Mr. Vendel, driving his vehicle to the city of New Orleans, where he abandoned it near, what was it, Calapisa and Coliseum, and abandoned that vehicle with Mr. Vendel in the vehicle itself. We work with NOPD, recovering not only the vehicle, but obviously the decedent in this case. And also recovered the subsequent firearm that was used in this case back at Mr. Harvey's apartment in the subsequent investigation. You know, the very sad situation that occurred yesterday. We did not receive any calls for service yesterday during the day. We think this happened somewhere between 11 and 12 o'clock yesterday morning, him leaving his house at 10 o'clock in the morning, but sometime between 11 and noon yesterday in the apartment complex. Did not have any previous calls for service, but we're able to backtrack it and make this arrest this morning. He is in custody. We are seeking a first-degree murder warrant right now. I don't believe it's actually been signed. It's being presented to the commissioner. Obviously, it's happened early this morning, and we're working with that right now. With that, I'll take any questions, Joe.
So you think the shooting actually occurred? I think that's the same thing in the apartment complex?
I don't know the name of it, Michelle. I mean, the address is 2101 Manhattan. According to the suspect, yes, it occurred at that location. Inside or probably outside? Outside, yes. We believe Mr. Vendel was in his vehicle when he was shot.
How is there any warning or advice for people who sell stuff on apps? And this is a big business nowadays, and it's very common to do something like this.
It is. I mean, look, Travis, we've gone back and forth with these marketplace apps. Obviously, thousands of transactions are happening in this area every single day, right? So it is a big business. Now, we've gone back just from last year and up until through this year. We've had 6 either thefts, robberies, simple robberies, and now a murder dealing with these particular marketplace apps. So, you know, when you think about the amount of numbers that are going through, it's not necessarily unsafe, but still that activity, you know, we had 2 armed robberies, 1 simple robbery, 2 thefts, and now a homicide connected with these marketplace sales. You know, giving advice to people, I mean, you know, it's a very common thing. Look, if it doesn't feel right, get out. You know, the fact of it is you can choose your location of where you're going to be, and if they're not showing up there, but for whatever reason, there's somebody else that you can sell it to. Those are different things that you can make it. I mean, there's people that'll suggest to, you know, do it in the parking lot of a police station, doing it obviously high lit, you know, good times of the day in the middle of a, you know, a grocery store where you're going to have a lot of people. I mean, this was on a Sunday afternoon, in the middle of the day. Unfortunately, it wasn't in a location that was, you know, well observed by people, but it wasn't necessarily at 2 o'clock in the morning at night where no one's going to be outside. So, you know, there are different things that you can do to make these transactions safer, but on the opposite end, you never know who you're meeting up with when that happens.
Do you all suspect that anybody else was involved? I mean, this guy drove the car there and someone had to pick him up.
No, actually he took the dirt bike. He took the dirt bike and rode it back, and that's why we found that at the apartment complex.
Sheriff, any indication that he had this plan, this is what Harvey was going to do, or is this something that just transpired once they met?
You know, that's something that our investigators are going to have to look into. That's not something that I would feel comfortable going with now. We have to look at the timeline of everything that occurred and look at what the statements are saying, and, you know, what matches up to the physical evidence after we do an autopsy and a ballistic analysis and all that type of stuff. So I don't think it's appropriate necessarily to speculate on that now.
So you think the suspect, if you could just walk that back, suspect allegedly killed him and then took the dirt bike and took it back to his, drove the dirt bike back?
According to the suspect, which matches, actually took the vehicle.
Okay.
The dirt bike was on the back of the vehicle. So took the vehicle with the dirt bike to the location, dropped it off, and then took the dirt bike and rode that back to the apartment complex.
Was it like a pickup truck or something?
It was, I think it was an SUV.
Did he give you any reason what led to him to allegedly open fire? Was it an argument over price or anything? I mean, what leads, look, people have arguments over things every day, but what led to, I guess, a murder?
You know, again, I think that's speculation at this point in time, Travis. I want to make sure that obviously we can get the statement transcribed and he'll be able to make that statement in court, but I don't care what it is. I mean, look, it's a $2,800 dirt bike. It's not anything that anybody should be shot over. So the fact of it is that's going to be his words that he's going to have to, justify later on.
Does the suspect have a criminal history?
Suspect does have a criminal history. I know he had arrest. I'm not sure about convictions. A burglary of an inhabited dwelling, illegal carry of firearm, and I think a municipal arrest, and maybe one kind of auto theft also. No convictions at this time.
Do you know if the victim has sold on Marketplace before?
I do not know that. No, I don't.
But he was selling it for, you said $2,800?
I think that was the price. I think it was $2,800.
Is there any reason for Coliseum right there where the body was, or was it just a random location?
From what I understand, random location, but again, I haven't seen the statement. I mean, that hadn't been transcribed for me to know. That just happened first thing this morning, but I think it's a random location.
Can you give the ages again?
The suspect was 20 years of age. The victim was 29 years of age.
If people want to conduct these marketplace transactions in any parking lot, like say JB's a district parking lot, and they do typically need to contact?
Somebody contacted me a while back in reference to that specifically. In Jefferson Parish, we don't necessarily have someone at our district 24 hours a day. I mean, my deputies are out on the streets to be able to show up and respond to calls and be able to come to the people that need them. So it's not necessarily that it's a bad place, but it's not necessarily something that's just a catch-all. I mean, I think you're safer at a grocery store parking lot. You're probably safer at but more importantly, in any case, I mean, if they're looking to meet you behind the building, if they're looking to meet you someplace else, if they keep changing the location, use those as red flags to stop the transaction and post it back for sale on another day, right? So there's certain things that I don't mind people meeting in the parking lot of a district station, but our district station, for example, on the East Bank in the 4th District is the middle of Zephyr Field. I mean, there's times that there's a lot of people in the middle of Zephyr Field right now, but there's other times that there's not. So, it kind of just depends on that location of where you're at.
Was the victim shot once or multiple times?
Multiple times, but the coroner's office has not conducted an autopsy yet.
So you all believe he was in his vehicle?
Yeah, as of right now, yes, we do believe he was inside of his vehicle.
Do you know if he ever even got out of the vehicle, or?
I don't think so. Don't think so.
He took the dirt bike from the location back to the apartment, he took the car back to the apartment complex, is that right?
No, took the vehicle to Coliseum,
Okay.
abandoned the vehicle with the victim in the backseat of the vehicle, and then took the dirt bike off of the trailer, but it wasn't a trailer, not a pull-behind trailer, but whatever it is, probably hooked to the tailgate, and took the dirt bike back to the apartment complex.
Did he have a vehicle like Michelle said, or how does he get a dirt bike? Does he take a ferry or something to get back across the river?
No, he just drove the dirt bike.
Okay.
But there was a trailer?
It's not a trailer, but a motorcycle carrier that probably hooks to the tailgate, to the trailer hitch.
And what time did y'all find the victim?
It was early this morning.
Early this morning?
Yeah, 5:30.
Jalen, J-A-Y-L-E-N?
Jalen. There you go. I'll go. Thank you.